Good evening, and welcome to another episode of In the Moment. And I was just enjoying doing that, being in the moment. And I'm glad you could be here and welcome. Tonight we're going to be taking another look at living your living your life according to Connecting the Dots Spine Number. It is a wonderful read and something that's still poignant today in many areas as it was written 35 years ago. Okay, and tonight we're going to be continuing on in diagrams number 4 in our continual sharing in diagrams. And then after that, we have some other things to take a look at. Also, I want to bring into play, I have been blogging. For those of you who like to follow my blogs, it's on CallingtonCastle.com, and it's under the author's desk or author's blog at CallingtonCastle.com. And there's a lot of information there, and I invite you to visit my website and take a look. And I'm sure you're going to find something that you're going to like. There's something for just about everyone, and it's about healing up through loving the truth. Okay. Now, last time we left off in our sharing in, let me kind of cover this up because we covered this last week, but tonight we're going to, as a refresher, we left off here. And on this side, you can see how love and truth are separated because you have, I'm sorry, I have that in reverse. It's this side. It's kind of hard to see with the camera. It kind of flips it around, so it makes it a little difficult to recognize. Okay, here you have love and truth. They're separated because of darkness. And when in the dark, due to original sin. So when love and truth became shattered, we're now in an off-balance state of mind and reasoning. So what has to happen is they need to come together out of the darkness to enter into the light in full balance, to have love and truth together. Okay. We're going to go on now to the next page. And here is another example of that, showing forth the transitional stages of coming out of the darkness. There's that transition there, that big space. What takes place there is, as a quick refresher, is the transformation zone is coming out of the darkness. As the darkness dissipates and love and truth come into balance, there's a deeper reasoning that takes place within the mind as the heart and the mind come together. That's where love and truth are no longer separated, and there's balance within us for clear vision, that we can see what is going on around us and be aware of what is taking place. And here is another picture of that. Here you see when things are out of balance, we're out of touch with reality, because we only know we only know part of reality. We don't know the full spectrum. And when one does not know the full spectrum of reality, then what happens is they're in a form of unreality, because when reality does not have full understanding, and we're kind of like on the short end of the stick, then what ends up happening is we kind of bob up and down instead of grow from a stable position. We're just kind of bobbing around. We're rolling around like a tumbleweed. Over here, we come out of the spin cycle or the tumbleweed cycle when we start to reason that we're feeling uncomfortable within our own skin, within ourselves. And when reasoning takes place, that's when we recognize there's instability in our lives. And when you're in an unstable place, if you don't go back into unreality and you come to a place of stillness and you break free from the whirlwind of time, which is on a wave in motion, by embracing, what do I say here? Let me read this to you guys. By coming into the moment and embracing truth, or how do I say, the resurrection truth, which is stillness that cuts against the friction of time. And how do I explain that? So you'd better understand it with greater understanding. Okay. Time is in motion. And when we slow down to catch up with God, it cuts friction against the wave until it stabilizes. And that's when we enter into the moment. And when in the moment, all this slowing down the wave that's where we get friction. Go faster and get heat. Go faster. And your hands start to burn, and like they're kind of burning now. So I had to stop. So, but if I was to go fast enough, beyond friction, beyond heat, beyond burning, there is light. And Jesus Christ is the light and life of all men that pushes back the forces of darkness, that we can be stability due to his love of his laying down his life for us. And when life stabilizes, you could taste the difference between a stable life and an unstable life in your spirit. Because when you have stability, you have soundness of mind. And there's an enjoyment of full life there, as opposed to the empty recesses of being bobbed up and down in the waves of time, because everything that can be shaken will be shaken. And when you're bobbing up and down, everything's shaking. So reality, no matter how high up you build your life or whatever it is, it's going to come down. Hopefully before you die, not afterwards. Because when everything comes down, that's when you find stability. Some people call it rock bottom. And they say rock bottom because there's nothing left. We're completely empty. And when you reach that place, you have a point of stability from which to grow up, even above the wave of time through stability, line upon line, precept upon precept. Okay, moving along. Now, over here, we're going to take a look at, this is a little bit of review here, where we had to overcome our limitations to push out the false central rule. This is what is taking place here. We come into this world locked as prisoners within ourselves. As we grow in eternal truth, we overcome the limitations. That was that space that you saw in the previous diagram. And as we come together and push out and overcome the false central rule, overcoming our limitations, or actually the push is this way. We balance out in love and truth coming together to give us light when our life is in balance between the heart and mind. Again, that's another picture. And here's another picture of that. Um, Here we're in a, how do I say? Let me see real quick here. I want to make sure I do this in the right order. Okay, now this is somebody who is stabilized. The emotions are of full love, and the truth, the reasoning is complete truth, and they're balanced. Now, when somebody starts to go off center, this is the reverse now. This is how Adam was when he walked in the Garden of Eden with God. He had full stability, he had full reasoning, and he had complete um, centeredness within his space, because love and truth were in balance for him to have light to see what he's doing and understand his actions. Over here, when Satan entered in through incompletion, he started to drift before he entered into temptation. And then once he got struck, there was an unbalanced shift that took place within himself, where darkness entered in and he became imprisoned. And he got put out of eternity because a place of incompletion now filled him, and he could no longer be in a place of completion. And we're moving right along here. And the reverse is coming back and entering back into the light of completion. We fill with light as we move through darkness and are joined to the light. Love, and this is love and truth over here, separated as darkness. As we come into the light, love and truth coming together. Here it shows us becoming congruous, or in a like manner with the kingdom of light. As the scriptures say, walk in the light while you have the light, lest darkness overtake you. Darkness is a different perspective, which if we take a look at the cover of my book, you're going to see how the lines are going this way. These little beads of truth coming down. As they hit us, there's a paradigm shift that takes place within us, until we become complete again and parallel with eternity, with heaven. To know God is to know eternal life. And I just wanted to make mention of that. And I'm going to attempt. No, I'm not going to do it. Well, there's a land called paradise where love doth never end. There's a land called paradise where truth and love doth reign. Can you skip like a calf, laugh like a mule? Come on, ye faithful, rejoice in all your youth. There's a land called paradise where joy in heaven, where heaven's choirs sing. There's a land called paradise where Christ is Lord and King. Had trouble there. Couldn't remember all the lyrics right away, but that was a song that the Lord put on my heart many years ago. And we're going to close now with one last diagram. Now, this came to me as a vision. And it's just a very simple diagram. It talks about how I was, well, first of all, let me give you the story. I was in a dead sleep. this vision came to me. I woke up. It was literally standing in my room, and I drew it down, and then it dissipated after I drew it down. Now, figure A, which is this squiggle spirit that's clear in the middle, that is the spirit of the living God. Now, when I got this, I didn't understand what I was looking at before till the Lord revealed it to me. As there was an unfolding as greater understanding came as the days went by. Okay, now, figure A is the spirit of the living God. Figure B, where there's a ball or a space of darkness here that is in orbit going busy, 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 moving, 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 going, 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 busy, 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 moving, 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 going, going, going around. It's being driven in a whirlwind. And over here, there's a tasting that happened which caused it to slow down. There's an old story I tell. There's 10 kids riding a bicycle on a hot day, 90 degrees. They're struggling. And there's this one, they're all in a group together. And this two in the group said, hey, this sprinkler feels pretty good. On a hot day, I'm staying in the water. When they came to the water while they were riding. So one guy stayed, and two stayed actually. And then another one said, hey, I want to catch up with the group. I'll go back into the heat again. But the one person who stayed in the sprinkler stayed refreshed and cool for the remainder of the day. And when the day wore on and got cooler, then he was ready to move on when the sprinkler went off. Now, think about that visual picture I just gave you. Over here, everybody's riding their bicycle, going busy, 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 moving, 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 going, 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 in motion. There was a tasting of the atmosphere of change coming out of the heat. One of the boys went on, and he tasted, but he continued on to go back to his old pattern of living in this flow, going back into busyness and motion and moving and going. Now, the boy who stayed and remained, that's when we come into play where we are encased in light and centered, and darkness is shut out of us. And when that happens, darkness tries to get back in, but cannot do so. As long as we keep our hands in a relationship with the Lord. Take them back, we're going to end up going back into motion and feel uneasy and get anxious again. And as reality breaks down, that's what happens. So a lot of people in this world are filled with anxiety without an understanding of the spiritual world. And my heart goes out to you. I was there. I know what it's like to be uneasy and unstable and to make poor choices and harm yourself without even realizing it. It's so good to be able to be full of life and joy. I mean, who doesn't want that? Okay. Well, this has been Richard Feller. Thank you for letting me share with you tonight. And I'll be here next Saturday night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow night. Next week. I look forward to it already. It feels like I want to be there tomorrow, you see. But for those of you who enjoyed my sharing tonight, CallingtonCastle.com, I have some blogs there. Very deep poetry and insights, along with a book that you can read called Callington Castle. And everything is pertaining to healing up and coming out of an abusive environment that surrounds us in this world. And you'll understand what I mean if you take a look there. Uh, I don't care if you live in ivory towers, as the old expression goes, or sleep out in the gutter, or if you're within the shadow of my voice and you're here, you need to visit CallingtonCastle.com, because there are blogs there and there's a book there that if you read through, I guarantee, and I have more books coming out too, and within the series, it's going to be a 5-book series. But by the time you get through the 5 books in the series, your life will be completely different. You'll never see things as you saw things before. And I sit here as a testimony to that. And this has been Richard Feller. Thank you for joining me here tonight. And I look forward to seeing you next week for those who want to have a visit and come and share and listen to me sharing. Blessings to you until then. And thank you for being here tonight. Take care.